you all to my channel. If this is your first time of coming to my channel, thanks a lot. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, like, share and subscribe, and also turn on the notification bell so that you can get notifications once a video pop up. Okay, so in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you guys how to achieve your bustier gown, and this is one of the most requested topic, and I'm so happy to put up this topic, right? So if you have any other topic you want me to make a video on, feel free to drop it in the comment section, and if you have any question in the course of this video, feel free to also drop it in the comment section. So what are the basic measurements required in order for you to achieve your bustier gown? Now we have our basic measurements: our shoulder, bust, waist, hip, and our gown length. Okay, now we'll go ahead now and calculate our measurements, which is actually very easy. So our bust measurement is 40. We have 40 plus 2 divided by 4 plus 1. We have 11.5. Our waist is 31. 31 plus 2 divided by 4 plus 2. We have 10.5. Our hip is 48. Our hip is 48. 48 plus 2 divided by 4 plus 1. We have 13.5. Our gown length is 35. So this 35, now you will go ahead and deduct your half length. Now what do I mean by half length? Our half length is simply from our shoulder measurement to 1 to 2 inches above your navel, okay, which is usually around our under bust measurements, right? Now you will go ahead now and deduct your under bust, your half length, from your basic measurement. So the reason why we are deducting our half length from this is because for your bustier part of a gown, you only have your bustier around your bust area, so your bustier doesn't get up to your hip, right? Because the reason or the essence for bustier is just to pad your bust, to give it like a form of structure, just like the way you put on your bra. And I assume that there is no one which has bust around the hip area, right? So that means that our bustier won't be getting to the hip area, but rather from our bust point to somewhere around our under bust. That is where our bust basically falls. So we'll go ahead now and deduct that. So we have 35 minus 17, have 18 inches. So it means that our shoulder to under bust now, shoulder to under bust, which is like our half length, we have 17. We'll go ahead and add 1 inch for our sewing allowance. We have 18. Now from our half length to our gown length, we have 18. We'll go ahead and add about 2 inches because this is where we are going to have our hemming allowance. We have 20 inches. So these are the basic measurements required in order for you. So these are the basic measurements required in order for you to achieve your bustier gown. Okay, so don't forget to join us on Facebook, Trendy Designs, on Instagram, Trendy Designs, and also visit our website. You guys, we have amazing illustration on our website. All the details are going to be in the description box below. We are going to go ahead now and mark our basic measurements. So we have our shoulder to armhole 10 inches, shoulder to bust 10 and a half, shoulder to waist 14, shoulder to under bust 14 and a half, shoulder to waist 18 inches, waist to upper hip we have 6 inches, lower hip we have 18 inches. So I'll go ahead now and connect the lines together. We're done with that. Now we'll go ahead now and mark our dart measurement, which is 4.5. Mark our dart measurement, which is 4.5. Mark our dart, which is 4.5. So I'll be going ahead with my pattern master, which is available. I will connect the lines together. Now on the waistline, now I will go ahead and mark ½ inch on both sides. Mark ½ inch on both sides. Now we'll go ahead now and connect the lines together. So this is what we have. Now go ahead and extend this to our shoulder line. We'll extend our dart line to our shoulder line this way. Once you are done with that, go ahead and mark 5.5 on your shoulder line. Mark 5.5. Connect this to your bust line. So go ahead and connect it to our bust line this way. Now on our under bust, we'll go ahead and mark 1/2 inch on both sides. Now we'll connect it to our bust line. We'll connect our under bust to our waistline. Our bust line to our waistline. So this is what it looks like. You can see it's actually very easy for you to achieve your bustier. Now once you are done with that, go ahead and mark your basic measurement. So our bust measurement now is 12 inches. We'll go ahead and mark our 12 inches. On our waistline, we'll mark our waist measurement, which is 10.75. On our hip line, we'll go ahead and mark our hip measurement, which is 14 inches. Now we'll go ahead and determine how many inches you want to deduct for your pencil effect. So I will go ahead and deduct 2 inches for that. I'm going to have 12 inches. Now we'll connect this to our hip line. Connect your hip line to your waistline. Then you connect your waist to your bust line this way. Now what you are going to do next is go ahead and determine what you have for your dart and add it to this part, because we are going to cut out all these points off. So for our dart now, we have 1.5. Go ahead and add the 1.5 to your bust measurement and also to your waist measurement. So go ahead and add it to your bust measurement and your waist measurement. Now the reason why we are not adding it on the hip line is because our dart doesn't get up to this point. So we'll go ahead now and connect this together. Once you are done with that, go ahead and close your shoulder dart this way, and then you go ahead and mark your shoulder measurement. So our shoulder measurement is 8 inches. We're gonna head to mark our shoulder measurement, which is 8 inches. Making use of our armhole curve, which also comes with our pattern set, we'll connect our bust line now to our armhole this way. We'll go ahead now and connect it. So this is what we have. So the next thing we'll do now is to go ahead and mark our neckline. So for the wideness of the neckline, I'm going to make use of 3.5. While for the deepness of the neckline, I really want it to be a very deep neckline, okay? I want it to be a very deep neckline. I will go ahead and mark 10 inches. So I want to have a V neckline. I will go ahead and connect it together this way, so you can see what we have. So by the time you close your shoulder dart, this is what we are going to have. So now I will go ahead now and cut this out. After cutting it out, this is what we are going to have. So we're going ahead now to cut out our dart and also our neckline, and then we cut it out at this waistline because we added our sewing allowance to just the bust and the waist. While for the lower part, this is what we have for the lower part. So this is basically how to draft your bustier. We'll go ahead and set this aside. Now this is our back block. So we'll go ahead now and mark the basic line, which we are going to have our shoulder to bust 10.5, shoulder to armhole 10 inches, shoulder to under bust 14 and our shoulder to waist 18 inches. So I'll go ahead now and connect these lines together. After you're done with that, go ahead and mark your zip allowance, which is 1.5 inches. I'm going to make use of 1.5 inches for my zip allowance. I will go ahead now and connect the lines together. So once I'm done with that, I will go ahead and mark our dart measurement, which is 4.5. On our waistline, we have 4.5. Connect the lines together. Now on the waistline, go ahead and mark 1/2 inch on both sides this way, and then you connect it to your bust measurement. So this is what you are going to have. So you go ahead now and mark your bust measurement, which is 12. Go ahead and mark your waist measurement, which is 11.75, and then you connect the lines together. Now you go ahead and mark your shoulder measurement, which is 8 inches. Connect your shoulder measurement to your bust measurement, making use of your armhole curve, which is available. So go ahead and connect this. So this is what you are going to have. So now you go ahead and mark your neckline. We made use of 3.5, so mark our neckline. Now because the front neckline is deep, I'm just going to make use of 1.5 for the back neckline, and I'll be making use of a 4-corner neckline this way, a square neckline this way. Now we'll go ahead now and mark our shoulder slope, which is 1 inch. We'll connect it together to our neckline. Now you discover that for the back block, we didn't add any allowance at this point, because what we have for the back block is just our basic top for the back block, okay? And why we added those allowance for the front block is because of the bustier dart, which we are going to cut off. So I'll go ahead now and cut this out. So this is what we are going to have for the upper part of the back block. Lower part of the back block, we are going to have the same lower part for the front block. The only difference here is that we are going to add our zip allowance to it, so you can see what it looks like. So by the time you join this now, you're going to have like your complete front for your back block. You're going to have your complete piece for your back block. So you can go ahead and make it a single piece by taping this down to give you one single piece, or you can just like cut it this way. It depends on what you want. So I'm going to go ahead now and tape this down to give me like a single piece, okay? So you just go ahead and add your zip allowance to this lower part of your front block. So now this is our back block. The first thing we are going to do now is go ahead and fold your fabric into 2, and I've gone ahead also to pin this part so that I can have like a single piece for my back block. So once I'm done with that now, I will go ahead and cut this out to give me a single piece for. So this is what we have for the back block. So by the time you are done, you are going to have 2 pieces this way for the back block. You guys can see how beautiful this African print is. So African prints are available at our store. So now I will go ahead and set this aside. The front block now, go ahead and fold your fabric into 2. Then you place your pattern this way, and then you cut this out. The other side, fold your fabric into 2. Go ahead and place this side of your pattern and cut it out. You are going to have 2 pieces also for the side. Your fabric also into 2 and place your center block and cut it out. Once you are done with that, this is what you are going to have for the front block. So you can see what it looks like now. For the, going to have this. So the reason why we have this opening at this part is because of our bustier effect. So guys, for the front block now, this is what we have. We've gone ahead to iron our paper stay to the front block just to give it like a form of structure, right? So the next thing we are going to do now for the bustier is to go ahead with our wording. Okay, so I have this medium wording here with me, and this wording has like the shiny part and the smooth part. Okay, so you are going to attach this shiny part to your fabric this way, and then you give it a hot press with iron. So you fix in your shiny part this way to the fabric. So after fixing it, this is what you are going to have. So the next thing you will do now is to go ahead and stitch it from, so you are stitching it from the lower part upwards. Okay, that's how you are going to stitch it, from the lower part upwards this way. So now you go ahead and stitch this up. The lower parts of our front block, we've gone ahead to turn it with lining, and this is what it looks like. We've also ironed it. So the next thing you are going to do now is fold this upper part, this lower part of your front block into two. Mark your dart measurement this way, and you also mark your dart measurement. So you go ahead and fix in your darts for the lower part of your front. While for the back block, this is what we have. So we've also gone ahead also to turn the back block with our lining. You can see what the back side looks like. So we've gone ahead also to turn it with our lining. So the next thing you are going to do now to this back side is to go ahead and fix in your zip. After fixing in your zip, you are going to have one single piece. Back block now, we've gone ahead to fix in our zip, and we have our darts on both sides. So this is what it looks like. You can see we have a single piece, and for the back this way, this is what this is what the back block looks like. So now we'll set this block. Now we've gone ahead to fix in our wording. After stitching it, we have a single piece, and for the back block, this is what it looks like after turning it with your lining. So this is what you are going to do now is the next thing you are going to do now is you are going to go ahead with the lower block of your front block and the upper block, and then you go ahead and couple this together to give you a single piece. After joining the upper bodies and the lower block together, we have a single piece this way for the front block. So you go ahead now and place your back block on it, stitch the both shoulders together to give you a single piece this way. Guys, after coupling it up with your measurements, this is what it looks like. You can see we have a single piece, and you can see our bustier effect. So this is what it looks like.